look at the big air. Oh, that's Josh running wide. Look how close they are. And away they go. The two Subarus get away fairly evenly. Kieran tries to go in wide. Oh, Tom's hit Kieran. But Josh goes back on the inside. Gary goes wide. Mike goes up the inside of Gary. Oh, there's a bit of a tap there. Oh, there's Craig has pushed Sam into the wall. Josh Hardy wins his second ever win and the second win of the day. Chris doing more rallycross in the BMW than actual touring car racing, and it's the first win for Mark Nicol in the Renault Megane. Joe's definitely going to get it. A fantastic win for Heafy on his debut event, his first ever win in the Nissan GTR, unless Kieran can make a last minute dive. And he does, and Mark Nicol is 6th, which means he's the independent champion for season 2. Craig Keller in the Nissan GTR is going to be a win for Craig. Craig Keller is going to take the win in this race. Craig Keller is your season 2 FWTC champion. Welcome to the FWTC Online Touring Car Championship. My name is Tom and you join us here for round 5 of the Season 3 Championship at the Le Mans circuit in France. The 8.4 mile circuit is the first time the FWTC tourers will visit here, and it's the longest circuit to be on the calendar and the longest circuit the FWTC tourers have ever visited. Just 6 laps will be driven round for each of the races here. So let's have a little look at the entry list and have a look at the tyre situation for the ballast at this round. It's just a 13 car grid for Le Mans, as the biggest omissions are Tom Foster for K-Tech Racing and Stephen Heath are missing for both their respective teams, having fielded only 1 car for each of those. In the independents, Gary Black is also missing in the independents, which means Josh Hardy and Connor Hewlett have a big advantage over Gary for the title going into the final round in Brands Hatch. Elsewhere in the independents, Aaron West and Luke Knox with Callum Baker make up the rest of the field there. Craig Kellett and Mike Kuipers both will have to be on hard tyres. Stephen Heath and Rob Pellet will have to be on the medium tyres, and Darren Parker and Mark Nicol will have to be on the soft tyres for the duration of all the 3 races, as the rest sit in the super softs as normal. So let's have a look at our first grid after qualifying. Shows Josh Hardy gets his first ever pole position. Here's your race 1 grid then for Le Mans, with Josh Hardy on pole position, a great first pole for Josh in the Renault Megane, next to Darren Parker in the first of the DC Motorsports BMW M3s. Row 2 is Connor Hewlett in his Subaru WX next to the other DC Motorsports BMW of Harry Cook. Row 3 is this Team Snap-on BMW of Luke Knox next to Mark Nicol in the K&N Racing Nissan GTR. Row 4 is the first of the Hyundai Genesis of Joe Burrows next to Craig Kellett in the Nissan GTR for Elite Racing. Row 5 is Kieran Thomas in the K-Tech Racing Ford Mustang next to Mike Kuipers in the K&N Racing Nissan GTR. Row 6 is Aaron West in his Mazda Atenza next to Rob Pellet in the Nissan GTR for Elite Racing, and at the back row of the grid in row 7 on his own is Callum Baker in his Subaru WRX. Okay, here we go then. This is the first race for Le Mans, and the first one ever to be held at this historic circuit. And away they go. And Connor gets a good start, and he's already got ahead of the pole sitter Josh, with the 2 BMWs ahead, and Josh goes into Connor into the first corner, but Josh manages to keep control. Someone goes wide there, but Connor maintains the lead so far. So Connor's leading, Josh is 2nd, Darren is 3rd, Luke is now 4th as Harry drops down to 5th, with Mark in between a a set of cars there, which was Craig, I think, and one of them was Joe. There was Joe. There he goes. Kieran up to 7th now. Mark is up to 8th. As Craig drops down to 9th. And they're now onto the main straight. And Darren has taken the lead here, but Connor is about to go back into the lead, and that is Mark Nicol going straight off. Let's have a look and find out where Mark is then. I think he's just managed to get back onto the track. So Mark is, I don't know how he managed to maintain that, but he's back up to 10th now, just ahead of Aaron. The two Elite Racing Nissans together in 8th and 9th. And this is a massive bundle of cars here. The Kieran going right across the track there. So Darren is leading, Josh is 2nd, and obviously the outright straight line pace is important here, as is the slipstream. And Josh breaks into the sharp right-hander at the end of the long straight there, and still in 2nd. Up to 3rd now is Luke Knox in the BMW, so he's progressed up quite nicely, as has Joe McCall into 4th in the Hyundai. And it looks like Josh is now fighting with Luke and Joe for 3rd. And that's someone going very wide at the back there, and the tight right-hander. So Harry pushes up to 5th. Mark goes back up to 6th after going off in the first corner. The first chicane into the straight. Rob Pellet still in 8th. Connor drops down to 9th. That's a big drop after leading this race. Kieran is down in 10th, and a bit further on is this back battle here. Callum, Aaron and Mike in 13th. Of course, there's only 13 cars in this. The standard 16 hasn't quite been produced here. And there's more wide running. That is Mark Nicol, and he goes into the wall. So something happened with Mark there. We might be able to have a look and find out what happened. He's got to pick up pieces and continue on in 10th. Let's go on board with Connor, as he's in between a Nissan GTR Elite Racing sandwich. On to lap 2. Only 6 laps, of course, because of the sheer length of the track. So Joe Burrows looking strong here, and that's a good pass on the inside of Luke up to 4th now, and he's got Harry Cook ahead of him. So Harry's progressed up from 5th to 3rd, so Luke has dropped down from 3rd to 5th, lost 2 places. So the BMW's showing strong here, as Darren is in 2nd, but fighting for Josh for the lead. Josh is now ahead. This will change quite a bit, I imagine, over the next few laps, due to the slipstream. So Darren is looking up on the inside, and he holds back, and Josh maintains that lead. Let's go on board with Darren. And as you can see, the BMW's strong on outright pace. So down to the tight right-hander at the end of the bend there, and Luke runs in and gets past Harry again. So Luke back up to third as Joe sits behind the two BMWs. And as you can see, the slipstream is going to help Joe here try to get into third again. And the three having a great battle here. Kieran up to sixth now, so Kieran is progressing well. Mark is trying to get back up after having a slight few excursions off wide into the gravel traps. On board with Connor, who's behind the two Nissans again, and Kieran up further ahead. It's a twisty left right here. Kieran nearly losing it. So you can see her head as he battles it out with Mark Nicol. Into the double tight chicane. And Kieran, whoa, very slow into the chicane there. So Kieran's struggling and drops down to 8th behind one of the Nissans, and could be in now the grasp of Connor and possibly Rob as well. So Josh drops down to 5th. We might have missed that, fortunately, but Josh is behind the BMW of Luke, and Joe goes up to 3rd as Harry and Darren are now 1st and 2nd. So this could be a big position for the DC Motorsports BMWs for the teams game, as both BMWs are 1st and 2nd, so it'll be a huge points haul, which is much needed for the team. Darren is comfortably leading now. Bit of a jump from Darren. So looking at Josh here, he was leading the race and then he just lost the back end, and that's what slowed him down. Oh dear, look at that. Struggling to get the car underway without spinning the rear wheels. And that's Harry and Josh, so they're getting tangled up there. Josh still down to 5th as he struggles to keep up with the pace of Harry, Luke and Joe up to 2nd now. So I think Joe's patience is paying off here, waiting for the right moment to attack. And then a check-up of further down then, Mark Nicol is right up on the backside of Craig here. Of course, both cars identical, but very different at the same time, tuned by their own respective teams. And the Elite Racing Nissan is the champion car from the previous season, Connor still in 8th, so he's not been able to progress up from early on when he was leading. And Rob having a fight with Kieran, and gets up on the inside, gets the overtake done. Rob up to 9th now, Kieran dropping down to 10th. Kieran looking like he's struggling here. Maybe the Mustang doesn't naturally suit the track, and Aaron West having another go at trying to get that Mazda around, get some better results here. So Darren is leading as he comes round the final few corners to go on to lap 4. And again, this will be good for Darren after he struggled at Fuji on the hard tyres, so that dented his chances for the title. But if he gets this win, he'll be an opportunity to take a second win in race 2 and put him in the best position to fight for the title, to snatch it away from Craig. So Luke up to 2nd now. Joe has dropped down to 3rd, and Josh is continuously battling with Harry here. And again, Harry showing strong pace in the BMW as Josh tries to get back up into 2nd, but has yet to really rebuild his confidence and push back into that 2nd, as both Luke and Joe are really strong here. And Joe gets the slipstream, passes the BMW up to 2nd. So Mark Nichol now is looking like he's actually catching up with Harry, and so he's in 6th, and he could cut up to 5th. So Mark is showing some late pace here. He's got away from Craig, as we saw them earlier on fighting between them, and Connor keeping up with the pace with the pack as well, so he could potentially pick up something a little bit more here. Kieran on his own in 9th, Rob down in 10th still, and Mike Kuiper's fighting with Callum Baker here for 11th. And of course Mike is dealing with the tyres, as Callum has a big off and somehow it keeps it together and stays in 11th, but I have to look at dealing with a penalty there for running wide. So Josh has dropped down even further behind Mark Nichol now, as we watch ahead of Mark is Harry, Luke and Joe, all fighting for that 2nd and 3rd podium positions. Josh up on the inside of someone running wide, and that's Harry. So Harry has been pushed wide, I think. We'll have to have another look at that, but Harry has dropped down to 8th, and that's a big shame for Harry. He was looking really strong there. Hard work paid off, and he was looking to get a good result, but drops down to 8th behind Connor. So Connor goes up to 7th. There's oh, that's Mark running wide as well. So Mark runs wide on board with Luke. So Josh goes back up to 3rd. As Joe Burrows holds 2nd position now. Could Josh keep that third and push up to second and try to get back up to Darren now. So let's have a watch of Harry here. He's on the outside of Luke as they go into the next corner. Yeah, unfortunately there's contact there and Harry loses it. On board with Luke, you'll see Harry come past him on the right hand side. And there he is. And there's the contact. On board with Josh, behind Joe, onto lap 5. Whoa, Josh really looking quite twitchy, quite aggressive here. I think he's desperate for that second position after he was strong early in this race, but maybe a bit too aggressive early on. As he goes down that straight, the two of them are pushing side by side. Into the chicane, and that's Joe Burrows running a little bit wide, and there's contact between him and Josh. So now it's a potential battle here for second between Josh, Joe, Luke, Craig and Connor, who's up to 6th after Mark drops down after he went into the gravel. It could be anyone's potential position gain as the slipstream really kicks in. Joe just about hold on to second as Josh really pushes and pushes, really putting him under pressure. Let's go on board with Connor at the back of this pack, and he could just wait patiently, hold back and find any of them to be just that little bit too aggressive, and just a bit of contact can disrupt everything, and Connor can make up some more spaces. So further down, Mark is a fair bit away from that pack now, so I don't think it's likely that he's going to catch up, as he's got Kieran on the back of him. So Kieran could progress up to 7th if he's able to push for that. Harry down to 9th now, so again it doesn't look likely he's going to really pick up any places after losing the slipstream. Darren's still leading now, so Darren's been leading this race for quite a while and comfortably on his own, no pressure, and looking good here for a win. So Josh Buck up to 2nd, and of course it's still all happening here on board with Joe, as Josh really in and out of Joe's mirrors. And Joe now has Luke Knox again on the backside of him, so Joe and Luke back together again after fighting for 2nd and 3rd throughout the majority of this race. And then through those very tight chicanes, but very, very quick. There's Craig and there's Connor. So can Connor push for 5th here on the back of the giant that is Craig? And Connor really showing some fantastic pace in his first season in that Subaru, and he's really progressed and matured as a driver in the series, and is continuously fighting it with the front runners now. Mark and Kieran are catching this pack though, and could potentially get involved. So Josh still in third, and he's actually now battling for second with Luke, as Joe Burrows has dropped down to fourth. So as you can see, the slipstream and the nature of this track really helps for overtaking. Connor up to fifth, so Craig has dropped down. Let's go on board with Joe as we watch both Josh and Luke battle it through the second chicane. Josh drops down, so Josh might be taking a penalty. So Luke comfortably in second now, Joe in third. Josh, look at that, he's actually dropped into the palms of Connor and Craig potentially here. Connor and Josh go into the tight right-hander at the bottom of the straight, and Connor almost drifts around the corner, and there's Kieran and Mark as well at the back of this, so it's still all to play for as we go into the final back end of this lap and the final few corners. Darren is still leading. Joe, we're on board with, is fighting for second and third with Luke. Looking good for Joe now, so he is holding his position here. But at the end of the day, it's been a dominant showing for Darren Parker, as he kept his cool, maintained his position, and amongst all the chaos behind him, has made some real distance, gapped everyone else, and comes away with a really comfortable win. Darren Parker takes race 1 for Le Mans. A really strong showing there for Darren, and looking really strong for race 2 as well. Joe is looking like he's going to take second, as he does. Joe takes second as Josh gets back up to third and takes the third. Luke is fourth, Connor is fifth, and sixth is going to be Mark, just ahead of Kieran, who's just ahead of Craig. So Craig really dropped down there last part of the lap. Harry, a disappointing ninth after really battling it out mid-pack with everyone else. Rob is 10th as he struggles on the tyres, but not too bad for Rob, 10th. And we catch up with Callum here, who is going to take a fairly strong 11th. So Callum coming around the last few bends. As Mike Kuipers and Aaron West will be 12th and 13th after they seem to have dropped dramatically down behind Callum, so something must have happened between those two as well. Mike is going to be 12th, Aaron is going to be 13th, and picks up the back of the grid. Darren gets the first win of the day then, ahead of Joe Burrows, with Josh in third after getting his first ever pole position. Luke takes fourth ahead of Connor, Mark in sixth, Kieran in seventh, Craig in eighth, Harry in ninth, Rob Pellet in 10th, Callum Baker in 11th, Mike 12th, and Aaron finishes at the back. What this means for the championship then, Craig still leads on 155, but of course Darren jumps up from 5th position into 2nd now with 137 points, ahead of Mike with 130. Rob goes ahead of Stephen, 125 to 122, and Mark stays in 6th as Harry drops down to 9th now. Josh jumps up, as does Joe Burrows, both equal on 120. Kieran stays in 10th. Connor jumps up ahead of Gary, as Gary isn't racing. The rest follow on as normal. In the teams, Elliott Racing are still leading 331 to KNN 314. DC move up a little bit after Harry and Darren scored some good points, 309. HB Motorsports 287 with only one car, and K-Tech 224, also only with one car. In the independents then, Connor is still leading 191 to Josh 186. Gary is in third with 160 still, even though he doesn't score. Luke jumps up to fourth, 108 points ahead of Joe McCall, and then Tom stays in sixth after not scoring again, with Callum moving up ahead of Alan Stretton, and Aaron and Ben still 9th and 10th.